Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Miro African Television. Today program is all about things that are happening in Nigeria, our country, and all over the world. Here is Miro Africa. I may use this opportunity to welcome Mr. Ajoko Kelly in our midst today. He's a law student at Oxford University. Mr. Ajoko, you're highly welcome to Miro Africa.
Thank you.
Mr. Ajoko, let me just jump directly to the question. How do you see the past Nigerian government and the current government? Because the current government keeps on enlightening Nigerians that the problem they are facing today is being caused by the past regime. So how do you see that?
And to be precise on your question, do you mean the penultimate regime of,
yes.
of the Jonathan?
Yes.
If I have a choice, I would say that the regime of Jonathan is a little bit better than Buhari, without minding some certain things he couldn't achieve, which might based on the people backing him up, disallowing him to move on towards the right track he wanted to move on. So when we compare Buhari regime and Jonathan's regime, there are a lot of differences we can outline. You know, a common man on the street can answer this question and tell you during the regime of Jonathan that a cup of rice is 10 naira and now it's 100 naira. So the difference is just clear. A blind man can even say it. So there are a lot of differences actually.
Okay. Do you think that the fault or the problem behind all those things that we are seeing today in Nigeria is because Nigerians voted out a young president with a young ambition, well-educated, more than the current president? Can that such a thing, because people are saying that Mr. Buhari is too old to rule Nigeria and all this thing, can that such a thing play any role in terms of governance?
Actually not. It has nothing to do. If you understand the rule of law, you will know that to rule a nation, it does not require an old man or a young man, but the people that surround this person, how clever are they? Do they have great thinkers that will say, okay, this is something to be done, this is something not to be done? Because once you're a president, it does not mean that you have the whole power to rule the entire nation. You have some people behind you that will be directing you, because he can know everything concerning regime. You know, it doesn't matter you're 100 years old or you're 10 years old. The most important thing is, do you have great thinkers that will direct you, that will tell you things to do, that will put you onto the right track? This is the most important thing you have to know.
The point you are trying to make now is that those people working with the president should be the one mostly directing the president on which step to take.
Exactly.
Okay. What if those guys are trying to advise him and he doesn't want to follow? Maybe because of his age, as Nigerians are pointing, he may be seeing those things as if it's not the right track to follow, you know, because of age differences.
You know, let me get down what is called down and dirty. What I mean by that, down and there, I mean let's call a spade, a shovel, a shovel. You know, when you lay good foundation for your children, it is your responsibility to be in control of how they will follow this this direction. You have this foundation you have laid for them. When they try to go astray, you will call them back and say, oh, when you go this way, you will end up to this way. When you follow this way, you will end up to this way. You know, this is to say, Nigeria is a corrupt nation. We are an engineer, we work at the bank. We are somebody who studied law. We go and practice the job of how can I say it?
A medical doctor.
A medical doctor. Let me put it this way, you know.
That means wrong portfolio.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. How they exchange portfolios are not properly done.
Okay. As you are pointing out in terms of corruption, Nigeria is facing a very big problem economically. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the problem in Nigerian economic row today depends on the low price oil, or do you think that it's also the same corruption that our current president is proclaiming that he's fighting is even crippling the economy?
Listen, let me tell you. If you want to count 1, 2, 3, you first start from 1, 2, 3, and go on. So once the head, I mean, once the head is corrupt, what do you expect others to do? This is to say, when gold rusts, what do you expect from iron?
Okay. There is also a topic that came up yesterday. The Finland government, the oil minister says that the same system that Nigeria is following to make service in terms of oil sales mm-hmm. is the same system they are using, but they are now saving more than Nigeria. So why can't Nigeria be able to save like other countries that are practicing the same system than Nigeria?
A very good one. Actually, there is what is called careless and careful. Mm-hmm. When you drop something careless, somebody else will pick it carefully, and it will become his. The system. Okay, let me come onto the area where I know how it functions. Mm-hmm. Nigeria have laws, just like the Western world do. Like all part of the world, they have law. But these laws, how do Nigeria implement these laws? Is it not the human rights existing in the Western world is what is existing in Nigeria? Do they have different paragraph of human rights law? It's just the same. Everything depends how you implement your the law and how you apply it, how you put it into practice. This is to say, the same system that Finland is using, if it is the same Nigeria is using, it simply means Nigeria is not following it properly.
Okay, like now you just mentioned the law of a thing. Do you do you think that Nigerian judicial system is functioning independently, or the same president that is ruling the nation is also controlling the judicial system of Nigeria?
You know, when you come in terms of law has its own power, and it has nothing to do with the president or the cell, because there is what is called equality. Under equality, everybody is equal before the law. Mm-hmm. But what is in Nigeria is let me put it this, Nigeria is in porous condition, and every citizen, every person, every individual living in Nigeria is aggressive. Everybody there, nobody is following the law. The president is not following the law. The governors is not following the law. The commissioners is not following the law. Even let me say, excuse me, my frustration, because some call it zoo, Nigeria zoo. How do you call it? Zoology or something like that. I already know. So when you see what is going on in Nigeria, there, it's like they are in the zoo. Even the zoo is quite safer than Nigeria, because the law existing in Nigeria has never been implemented for a single minute. So this is to say, when you're rich, you have the law in your pocket. You will do whatever thing you want to do. Nobody is going to ask you why. Why do you do so? Why do you do so? Unlike here in the Western world, where a millionaire will be brought to justice to answer. You know, if he's guilty, then they will follow the law and sentence him. I've never seen such thing in Nigeria.
Okay, as we just mentioned before, in terms of economical row in Nigeria, Nigeria is very rich in mineral resources, and when people mention mineral resources, everybody thinks about oil. Like yesterday, we just got an information that says that Nigerian gold in northern Nigeria is more than the South African gold as a whole.
Wow.
And that's a very big research that just came out. And Nigeria just sealed those places. Upon that, we have a lot of mineral resources in the northern part of Nigeria. Why, as oil is falling and things are getting hard for Nigerians, why don't our leaders now change the direction of our income as a nation to other mineral resources that they have in Nigeria, like mining, like this gold now, mining the gold, mining other precious stones that are also existing in northern Nigeria?
You know, when you talk of Nigeria, remember, this is the country that is really blessed. They are richer than every country you can think of in the world. Let me put it this way. They are one of the richest countries on this planet. But the problem we are facing there is mismanagement. You know, this mismanagement occurs when, let me say, when the governments are not doing things that they are supposed to do. They are not following the rule of law, the legal system laid down. Things are not practicable. So this is the reason things start falling apart. Let me give you a practical example. Today we are in Germany and in UK, let's say in the Western world. When we make exchange and say, let the whole German citizen or the whole UK citizen go to Nigeria and the whole Nigeria come to Germany. Believe me, brother, just 3 months, within a space of 1 year, you will see that Nigerians relocated in Germany will like to go back, located in Germany will like to go back to Nigeria. What do they do? Germany, what do they have? Only taxes they are paying. Nigeria have many opportunities. They have many different ways of generating funds to the nation. Let me put it this way. Nigeria only concentrate on a particular thing, like oil. When you interview an undergraduate student, his aim is to work at an NPC or to work to so and so place where they will gain oil money. And when the oil price is now down, why Nigeria keep staring at the closed door without going back, look to the left, to the right, and see some open doors waiting for them to utilize this properly? Like, you say now they are gold or I don't know, gold, diamond, zinc, precious stones.
in northern Nigeria.
In northern Nigeria.
Especially between Nigerian border with Cameroon. That area. Those states.
This is to tell you, Nigeria has little power to develop things. And a nation having little power to develop things, they always appear in this condition Nigeria is facing today. This is to say, Nigeria consumes a lot of things more than productions. So when a country starts consuming, they will keep on consuming. No production, no investment, no way forward. Why can't Nigeria just go home, reassess themselves, replan themselves, restart, rejuvenate, resuscitate some certain areas that can generate money to the country? They just focus on I.
Like now, many old politicians in Nigeria are suggesting to the current government that Nigeria at the moment needs restructuring. Do you think that is what Nigeria needs at the moment, to restructure himself? As you just mentioned a lot of points here now. Should we go back and restructure Nigeria for better Nigeria tomorrow?
It depends on what you call restructuring, because Nigeria, what they call Nigeria, let me put it this way. What Nigeria call restructuring might not be the same thing I have in mind. Because to my own view, the way, or one of the ways of restructuring, is changing the system that have been operative, that has never bring the country forward. How do they change this system? To change this system is now. We have new generations. We have intellectuals. We have, just name them. Bring these people to their field. Let them practice what they studied, what they learn, what they know, what they like doing best. Fix them at that point. Don't just take bribe and put put a stark illiterate on that particular position. He will not know what to do. It's like now, you bring a law student to go and work in the bank. What is he going to do there? There is no idea. You understand what I mean?
I feel you. That means indirectly Nigeria is not following the right way to govern a nation.
Yes.
Another thing, sir, men looking into Nigeria now, you will see that there are agitations here and there. Mm-hmm. People, due to how things are moving in Nigeria, it's no longer conducive for every citizen in Nigeria. And as you can remember about Biafran-Nigerian War, the ideology is not dead. The Nigerians thought that after winning the Biafran War that the ideology is also gone. But now, a lot of people are calling up the agitation of Biafra. Do you think that Biafra living in Nigeria is the best idea for the Biafrans?
This is a very good question, and actually, Biafra going out from Nigeria is not actually the best solution. It's not a good idea living in Nigeria, because we have intermarried, interrelated, intertwined, interconnected in different ways. Okay. So let me put it this way. When I was a kid then, or I don't know, I used to hear Udoji. That was when Nigeria they were earning more than their income or double salary per month. I can't remember exactly how it was called. Let me put it away. Every man living in Nigeria, they were okay as of then. They can buy Mercedes, what do they call this, bike and 504 products at the rate of 1,500 naira, 2,000 naira or 3,000 naira. Each person living in that country, they were satisfied. They were happy within themselves. Why this agitation of Biafra didn't come up then? The reason is they are okay. And when there is sufficient, when there is sufficient resources in the country, every man will live in peace. But when there is insufficient resources, your graduates, what is studied, you can't get job there. They have taken bribe and put somebody who is an illiterate, who cannot perform the duty properly, and bringing him there.
Let me add a little thing too. Like the way I do see things happening in Nigeria. We live in an advanced world. We can be able to foresee how Nigeria has been run. It's like Nigeria have given the eastern part of Nigeria sanction, economic sanction, in the sense that anything that you are doing inside Nigeria, if you didn't come to Lagos or go to northern Nigeria, you will never succeed.
Yeah.
And those ideas are now pushing people to invest more in Lagos and other parts of Nigeria and leaving the eastern region crippled.
This is the same thing we are talking, this mentality, let me tell you, somewhere the American airport was rating everyone is not meant to travel. This is to say, everyone is not meant to live in the capital. The same resources the government is generating, they can distribute this thing to different local government, different states, and make what is in Lagos to be in Owerri, to be in Enugu, to be in Kano, to be in Nasarawa, to be everywhere. Then wherever you are, you'll be satisfied. If you want to go to bank, you go to bank. If you want to go to this place, you go to this place. There is no way of bringing people belonging to different states to Lagos to come there and search for greener pasture. It's not properly done.
Okay. Like now, you're a law student. You may be hearing about Mr. Nnamdi Kanu.
Yeah.
The leader of Biafran Pirate Radio.
Yeah, I've met him somewhere in UK.
Okay. Is it wise that because of the pirate, in terms of human rights, freedom of speech, that the Nigerian government arrested him and put him into prison? Is that normal?
Yeah, I have been following the case of Dr. Nnamdi Kanu and the injustice going on in Nigeria. The law is being insulted by Nigeria government. It's not practically practicable where a president will ignore the rule of law, we ignore the constitution, we ignore the regulation, the directives. I've never seen where such thing is being done except in Nigeria. How can a president ignore what's the court order? The court ordered Nnamdi Kanu to be released. The president refused. A blind man or a common man on the state will find out that there is no justice in this area.
But somebody running a pirate radio
in
a strange land that is not in Nigeria, is it wise in terms of human rights law, for a nation to arrest him for the first place?
No. It's not properly done because we have under Human Rights Act 1948, we have freedom of speech, we have freedom of movement, freedom of religion, freedom of opinion, freedom of mind, freedom of self-decision to control yourself, do whatever thing you want to do. The Human Rights Act 1948 offered this opportunity for the virtue of being human. Even before Human Rights Act 1948 Convention, that was I think December 10, 1940, was it December or November 10, 1948. Before that, let me take you back to 539 BC when Cyrus the Great conquered the city of Babylon. Do you know what he did? He freed the slaves. He said every human have the right, every human should choose his religion, practice your culture, say your mind, do whatever thing you do that pleases you as being a human being. Even today, his statement was written in Akkadian language, which UN has translated it in various languages today. So this is to tell you, human rights has been in existence, and we have to embrace it. We have to follow it. You have to put it into practice in every activities. In every activity we are engaging ourselves. Okay. I mean, the law is being insulted, let me put this way, by the Nigeria government.
Okay, another place I want to touch is in terms of Nigeria has a law that forbidding every citizen not to carry assault rifle around the country. But in other part of it, the Fulani herdsman has the green license to be able to carry assault rifle in the name of protecting their cattle not to be stolen. Does it mean that Nigerian police and Nigerian forces are no longer capable to give security to Nigerians?
Do I hear you say they have license?
I said they have green license. Because
green license. Official green license, or I don't know what you mean by license to
what
carry.
I mean by that is this herdsman
yes
has the they have the right to carry assault rifle AK-47 around the country with their cattle, while officially the federal government give it is not allowed for any citizen to carry any rifle in his position. But the northern herdsmen are allowed to do it. When somebody asks, they say that they are securing their cattle and whatever. Does it mean that the Nigerian police force or other forces and secret service operating in Nigeria are no longer capable to offer security to Nigerians and their properties?
Actually, according to law, according to Firearm Act, an individual, it depends on the country where you are. For instance, in the USA, an individual can have some arms which will be registered with his personal identity card for self-protection. Under Nigerian law concerning firearms, I don't know exactly if it is allowed for individuals to carry guns. Exactly. I think it's not practicable because if I can reflect back, illegal weapons is not allowed in Nigeria. So if they are carrying it for the purpose of their cattle or so, we have to find where it is written in the constitution of Nigeria that so people, they are allowed to carry firearms because of their cattle rearing or for business purposes. But I doubt if something exists in Nigerian law. I've never seen that.
Okay, Mr. Ajoko, I will use this opportunity to thank you for granting us this interview. You know, I will say, fellow Nigerians, friends online, Mr. Ajoko have expressed his opinion in terms of our topic today. Thank you, Mr. Ajoko.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, my man.